Welcome back, this is Kaya Redford. And now we're going to look at step 3 of being a master of influence and communication. And step 3 is in part A and part B. So let's start off with part A. Part A is how to connect and establish deep rapport and how to use your sensory acuity. So I'm going to explain to you what these different terms are in a moment. First, let me share with you what I've noticed about this. I've noticed that in the marketplace, we've gone through many changes in real estate. Would you agree? And if you can recall back in 2006, 2007, we had a boom market here in the United States of America. And a lot of people had a lot of equity in their homes. And what we noticed is in the mortgage industry, they were making a lot of money refinancing homes, people taking equity lines of credit and using the money for whatever they were going to use it for. And we know what happened when the market crashed, yes? And what we discovered is that some unscrupulous loan officers, some unscrupulous companies were selling loans or giving loans to people that never really had an ability to pay the loan back. In fact, there were some loans that were sold that even the first payment the homeowner was not even able to make. And yet it was done from a place of what? Greed. And again, I train loan officers, I train real estate professionals, I respect the industry. And so this is no reflection on the industry. There are great people helping, inspiring people to solve their needs with loans, as there are bad people. It's the same thing with any industry. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because would you agree that there is almost a lack of trust in the marketplace because of sometimes these companies or certain unscrupulous individuals that take advantage? Would you agree? Have you ever had that experience where you lost trust in someone or a company because you felt that perhaps someone had taken advantage of you? Has that ever happened? Also, another example I noticed too is in the area of making money. Everybody has this get-rich-quick scheme, available. If you watch TV late night, there's so many ways. Oh, you can become a millionaire in 90 days by learning this or learning that. And we've been bombarded by so many things that it's almost as if that, over time we've become more and more skeptical. And by the way, I'm not a pessimist, I'm an optimist. But I'm also a realist. Would you agree that society is a little bit skeptical? Have you found yourself even a little bit skeptical? Even learning N.L.P, did you ever ask yourself, is this really gonna work? Is this really good? I have people all the time that I meet that prior to meeting me or prior to learning the tools, they have, doubts and skepticism, and I think that's very normal. Because we really don't know till we know. Make sense? So what I'm going to share with you is how important it is with communication and influence to be able to bridge that, where people have a lack of trust in general in society, where people sometimes have skepticism, and what we can do to not just overcome it, what we can do to find our way and navigate through that to help them get what they want. Would you like to be able to learn how to do that? Awesome, awesome. Okay, so connecting and establishing deep rapport. Deep rapport, what would be the simplest way for me to describe rapport? Maybe you know rapport, maybe you haven't heard of rapport. Rapport is just having that connection and responsiveness with you and another person. If that person is connected to you and responding to you in the way that you would like, you might say you have good what? Good rapport. Yes? Would you like to learn how to have great rapport, great connection and responsiveness with everyone you communicate with? Would you? Absolutely. You can also discover that sometimes when there isn't a connection or when a person doesn't respond the way you would like them to respond towards you in communication or anything else, maybe that's a sign of lack of rapport. A lack of rapport. Make sense? Would you like to be able to solve that? And be able to turn lack of rapport, a lack of connection and responsiveness with the person, and move it to a place where you do have that rapport. Make sense? So that's what it's really about. Now, interestingly enough, what have we learned? We learned sometimes, you meet someone, you find things of commonality. Maybe you find yourself in their home and they have kids, maybe you have kids, or maybe they went to the same high school with you, at the same college with you. So what we've kind of been taught is find things of commonality with someone. But what if you don't have anything of commonality with someone? Does that mean you cannot have a deep level of connection rapport? No, absolutely not. You can actually have a deep level connection rapport with anybody, anywhere, anytime, even someone that doesn't even speak your language, because it's really about something else. Would you like to learn what that secret is? Yes. Now, there's another term here saying using your sensory acuity. Now, what is sensory acuity? Your sensory acuity is your ability to be able to read someone's language, read someone's body language, to be able to know when you have that rapport building and connection or when you don't. Would you like to be able to improve your sensory acuity, your ability to read a person's body language, read people, read situations, and read even yourself, and read life? Would you like to learn how to improve that? Awesome. We're going to be learning all these tools through the course of this program. Now, why is all this important? We talked about skeptical. Yes, we talked about people that have a lack of trust. And, bless them, it's not even their fault. There's been a lot of people unscrupulous and shady doing things that's kind of burned the trust with the American people, or even with people around the world, So what's happened as a result is that people unconsciously, so I mean that they're not even aware that they're doing this, but they're doing this. People unconsciously, without their own even awareness, are thinking these three things. What do you think the skeptical person or the untrusting person is thinking? What are you thinking sometimes when you meet someone and you don't know if you can trust them? Are you asking yourself this question? Can I trust that person? That's the most common question that's happening internally, even out of their awareness. They're thinking, can I trust you? I know we trust each other. What about other people? Do you feel like you have a level of distrust perhaps for other people? Maybe you're thinking, okay, well, they're there to make money, or they're there to this or that, so you question their intent. It makes sense, yes? Absolutely. So can I trust you is one of the most common questions. And you, as a master of influence and communication, need to be able to find a way to earn that trust. Need to find a way to navigate through that and create doors of possibility with a person. Coming from love, yes? Coming from helping people, like I'm helping you get what you want. Coming from service. Not coming for our own selfish gain and selfish want, selfish need, because people can read that. Would you agree? You're smart. You can read that in anyone at any time. Yes? Absolutely. Me too. We're on the same page with that. What else? People are unconsciously thinking, do you have my best interests in mind? In other words, the question is, we'll go back to the loans, and back in 2006, 2007. Were they really thinking about the welfare of people, the unscrupulous agents? Anybody that's unscrupulous, that does shady business practices, do you think they're really thinking about the client? Do you think they really care? Or are they only interested in themselves? Are they only interested in their own profit, their own gain, their own selfish needs, wants, and desires, instead of you, instead of me, instead of us? Make sense? So people have that skepticism about that. Do you have that skepticism with certain people? Like you wonder, do they really have my best interest in mind? Or are they only out there for profit? Am I a commission to that person? Have you ever had that thought that, am I actually just a way to make money for this other person? Am I literally a commission to that person? Does this person see me as a money opportunity and not really see me, the person? Have you ever felt that way? That also means that when we communicate with people, there are people that also feel that way. Would you like to learn how to navigate that, how to build that trust, and how to be able to penetrate through that resistance and that wall in such a way that it opens up a great relationship for you in that business, professional, or whatever that may be. Would you like to learn how to do that? Awesome. And then finally, they ask another question unconsciously, which is, will you deliver on what you promise? Have you ever wondered that? If someone makes this promise to you, are they going to really deliver it? Yes? Have you ever wondered that? You know, what I like to say to people is, yes, confidently say what you're going to do with someone or for someone. Absolutely. Don't diminish what you're going to do. Confidently say what you're going to do. But let's go further than that. What we do when we deliver, we exceed their expectations. I am going to exceed your expectations. I know I'm going to exceed your expectations. Not from a place of arrogance or complacency. I've been doing this a very long time. And I have so many clients that are just blown away by the value that they've received. If I haven't exceeded your expectations, I haven't done my job. I haven't lived my purpose if I haven't done that. And that's why I say, yes, I'm going to promise that you're going to learn amazing tools and techniques, and I'm absolutely going to blow your mind and exceed your expectations. Just like I expect you, when you learn these things, when you utilize these things that I'm sharing with you, and you work with clients, I urge you to exceed their expectations. Make sense? Yes? Would you like to learn how to do that? How to deliver on what you promise and actually exceed the expectations of the people in your life. Now, if you learn how to navigate these three things, to be able to communicate through a frame or a mindset that someone may have that they're not sure if they can trust, or they're not sure if you're delivering what you promise, or they're not sure that that you have their best interests in mind. If you're able to navigate through that and really connect and create that deep rapport with the sensory acuity that you're utilizing, that you can totally read what they need, read the signs, that you know that maybe you're going to slow down and be even more diligent, even more caring, even more loving, and helping them get what they want. Would this make a huge difference in your life? Absolutely. Would this, in a way, change the world? Change your set of circumstances and change the whole entire world? Yes? Would you like to learn how to be a master of this? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, on part B, we're going to be covering the second part to 3, which is really how to have that deep rapport. And that is going to center around learning how to speak into the listening of an individual. Okay, so 3A, a lot of information, yes? A lot of information. Now, what's coming up next is actually 3B. And 3B it's pretty much relating to the same thing, which is building that connection and building that rapport. And even though it's relating to the same thing, it's almost like its own lesson. So you have two options. You can either continue watching this particular video and watch 3B, which I'll be going into, or you can take a break, 5-10 minute break. You would end up just pausing this video in a moment, and then take a 5-10 minute break, come back with focus and energy to learn something different, but still part of the same thing. Or you can actually pause this tape, see the time that you actually paused it, and actually watch 3B tomorrow. Make sense? So I'm going to give that to you as your option, whatever you prefer to do. Okay, so you can either just continue watching, and I'm now going to talk about 3B and some new information, or you can take a 5-10 minute break, pausing the video, come back and then watch 3B, or you can pause it and just watch 3B tomorrow. Okay, whatever you decide. So right now, go ahead and in a moment, right now, go ahead and just pause the video. Go ahead and pause it right now, and as soon as on a few seconds, I'm actually going to be starting 3B, and you decide if you want to watch it now or watch it in 5-10 minutes or watch it tomorrow. Okay, go ahead and pause the tape now. Step 3B has to do with speaking into the listening. We're going to learn how to speak into the listening of a client. Why? For the same reason. We want to connect, and we want to have that deep rapport, and we want to do that the way we do business. Yes? We want them to trust us. We want them to know that we have their best interests in mind, just like I have your best interests in mind. We want them to know that we will exceed their expectations and deliver on what we promise. You want all that, yes? Well, what's another way that we can do that? Well, another way we can do that is by learning how to speak into their listening. How does that sound? Does that sound good? What if someone could actually really speak into your listening? Has anybody ever spoken to you and you felt that you just didn't get them, you didn't understand, they were telling you all this stuff, but it was just falling on what they call deaf ears? Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had it where you were communicating with someone and you're doing your best to get your point across and it seems like they're just not getting you? You know, it's interesting because there was a couple that I worked with and it was clear they loved each other. They came to me because I do success coaching, but I also have a program that is in the area of relationships, which is called the Relationships Breakthrough. And it was very clear to me that they loved each other, but they seemed to be just disconnected. And they seemed to be almost like two ships at the sea, passing each other by night and not really fully connecting. And I asked, the husband, what's going on? And he says, I just don't understand. How come she doesn't see how much I love her, Kaya? And he proceeded to tell me, I show her. I do all these things. I work my butt off. I provide. At one point when I was making less money, I had 2 jobs, and now I have 1, and I do everything to show her how much I love her. And I felt him on that. And then it was interesting because then I spoke with his wife. And she said to me, and I said to her, what's going on? She says, it's just, I don't know, it's just missing. There's something not right with us. And I said, tell me a little bit more. She says, Kaya, I just don't feel him anymore. She said, I just don't feel, and her hands went up around her like this. She says, I just don't feel him anymore. And I asked her about that, and I said, well, how long has this been this way? She says, it's been this way for a very long time. And I asked her, can you remember a time when you did feel him? She says, yes. When we got married many, many years ago, and it's just, we've lost it. Interesting. Yes? Because he said, when he talked about her, how come she doesn't see how much I love her? He said, I show her. How come she doesn't see how much I love her? I show her. He's talking about visual. Yes? And then when I talk to her, she says, I just don't feel him. And what she was saying is that she doesn't feel him, which is the kinesthetic. It's not visual, it's kinesthetic. So what you're going to learn in this program as we continue, we're going to learn the 5 senses. Isn't this exciting? You're going to learn the 5 senses, the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, which is the feeling. So visual, I see. Auditory, I hear. Kinesthetic, I feel. Olfactory, I smell. By the way, that's one of the most powerful senses. Starbucks coffee uses it to great effect. Certain stores use it to great effect to draw you in because of the scent. And then also there's gustatory, which is taste. And some of these words, yes, are advanced. They're actually N.L.P concepts and language, and I'm going to be teaching you all of them. So we have these 5 senses, and what we've discovered is that certain people have a preference. They have a preference. In other words, there are certain senses that certain people thrive off of. What we call it is their preference. So these senses are almost like representational systems. I'm going to be teaching you what that means and how this can be powerful and useful for you. Representational systems and how people like to relate to the world. And what I'm saying is, people have a preferred way. Some people are more visual, some people are more auditory, some people are more kinesthetic, some people are more analytical, which is auditory digital. Again, analytical. They make the great accountants, the lawyers, the engineers. They like information and data. They're just different. And of course, we're a mixture of all of them. But whichever one happens to be our preferred one, if we don't learn how to communicate into the preferred sense of another person, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be deleting our information. They're not going to get what we intend them to get. They're not going to feel what we would like them to feel. And then, as you know, with the couple, they're basically headed toward a divorce. And when I was able to teach them these things, my gosh, did they have a breakthrough? Did a miracle happen? Let me tell you. And this is the same thing with our clients. Because what if you're in business and you want a client to buy your product or your service? You want to be able to communicate in the way that they would like to be communicated, not because your way isn't important, not because you're not allowed to be you. Of course you're allowed to be you. Of course we're allowed to be ourselves. However, if you want to be a master of influence communication, you want to be selfless enough where you are adjusting and modifying the way you communicate, so you're communicating their way, your client's way, your child's way, your husband or your wife's way, your grandma's way, so that you can create a space where you can create the results and the outcome that you want. Would you like to become a master at that? Yes? Yes, this is amazing, amazing, amazing things. We're creating a bridge between you and your outside world. We're creating a bridge between you and the people that you love the most. We're creating a bridge between you and your clients. We're creating a bridge between you, your goals and your dreams and your desires. We're creating that bridge so you can really connect the dots. Do you really want to connect the dots? Would you be willing to master these things with me and continue on this journey with me so we can get there? Yes. We'll be offering you a test at some point in this program where you get to find out how it is that you prefer to experience the world. Your own senses. Why do we need to do that? Because we need to know what are your own preferred senses. Because you need to learn how it is that you communicate. So now you know how you communicate, you know how the other person communicates, and because you know that point A and because you know point B, you're able to go from point A across a bridge to point B. But how would we be able to get to point B if we don't even know what our point A is? So it's important for me to educate you on how your own brain works. Would you like to learn how your own brain works? Yes? To go through that self-discovery and that learning process? And then also, would you like to learn how other people's brains work? Yes? And to be able to create the bridge, to connect the dots so you become intimately connected, whether it's for business purposes, personal intimacy, or whatever the goal is. This is as much for personal relationships, family relationships, intimate love relationships, as it is something as huge for being a leader, an entrepreneur, and a sales professional. Would you like to improve all those areas? Awesome. Finally, on this topic, you're going to learn that people actually have strategies in their brain through which they decide how to get motivated. People have strategies in their brain on how they make decisions. People have strategies in their brain on how they buy or sell a product, a home, a car, or whatever. If you're in real estate, would you like to learn, or if you're in financial services or any industry, would you like to learn what the internal process is that someone uses to sell their home or their car so that you can help get the listing? Would you like to learn internal processes that a man or woman has, or a child or whoever, how they buy, what their internal processes are when they buy? Would that be powerful? Why? Because what we're learning how to do is we're learning how to speak into their listening. We're learning how to connect into their own mental strategies so that we create a bridge. So if you want someone to get more motivated, maybe you want to get yourself even more motivated, you learn how to tap into your own motivation strategy. And if it's not really working, your motivation strategy, you learn how to change your strategy. so that you are motivated on a continual basis. Would you like to learn how to do that? Would you like to take your motivation all the way to what its true potential is? Yes? And then also, same thing with decision strategy. Would you like to be able to learn what your own decision strategy is? And if it's not really good because maybe you're having a hard time making decisions, would you like to learn how to improve that? Yes? Would you like to learn how to be able to get someone else's decision strategy so you know how to speak to them so that you can inspire them and help them to decide? You can inspire and help that other person to decide, to make a decision, to move forward with their life, whether it's buying your products or services or whether it's whatever it is, the outcome. Would you like to help people get what they want while also helping you yourself getting what you want? Yes? Yes. Awesome. And then finally, the buying strategy, which by the way, it could be buying strategy or selling strategy. It's the same thing. I could actually put up selling strategy up there too. So let's just consider it says buying strategy and selling strategy, both. Would you like to learn how to figure out what your own buying strategy is? And if it's something that works, it's good, keep it. And if it needs to be adjusted, would you like to learn how to change that? Would you like to learn your own selling strategy as well, where you can learn how to really sell the value that you bring to the world? Yes? What about your clients? Would you like to learn what their buying strategy is so that you can inspire them to buy your products and services? Would you like to learn what their selling strategy is so you can inspire them to list their house with you so that you can sell their house for them? Or whatever it is. Seeing the power of this? And by the way, these strategies are actually internal and they're unconscious. What I'm saying is that people don't even know they have them. They just follow them. It's almost like the autopilot of the plane. It's unconscious. It just happens internally, out of their conscious awareness, on autopilot. Would you like to find out and tap in and find out all these great secrets? And if you knew for a fact that you had all these secrets, would it have a huge impact on your results in life? Personal life, family life, with your kids, with your family, whoever, or even with your business, and even with yourself. Would you like to learn all these things? Awesome, awesome. Well, this video was loaded. I know it was loaded. I had it packed with so much stuff. Why? Because it all centers around this thing called connection and rapport. And we need to learn part A and part B, both combined. How to build that trust and rapport, and then also how to speak into the listening of an individual in order to do that, and how to connect with their buying strategies, their selling strategies, their decision strategies, and their motivation strategies. We need to bring it all together. Exciting stuff, yes? We're on this journey together. I may have your head spinning at times. I know that. And let me ask you, if I didn't have your head spinning, would you be growing? Would you be growing if I didn't have your head spinning? Would you? Probably not. The fact that we are intensely learning these things, and I'm going to take it one step at a time. I'm going to take it slow, one ingredient at a time. So right now I'm just introducing what it is that I'm going to be covering through the course of this program and giving you an insight, a taste, a little taste of what it is. And then as we start to learn these things, I'm going to go deep down into the learning. I'm going to teach you why this is important. I'm going to teach you what this is. I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm actually going to show it to you through the course of these videos on how to do it. I'm actually going to perhaps even show you a demo of me doing it so you can see it. And then I'm going to have you do an exercise, giving you whatever the script is that you need to be able to do it. I'm going to be giving you that information so that you can follow the script and you yourself can do it yourself. And then we're going to engage and have a conversation about that. Awesome. Congratulations. You made it. And I'll see you on the next video.